The fallen leaves tell a story.
Whenever I have tried to explain my thoughts or feelings about Elden Ring, the first thing that always comes to my mind is like, wow, what a journey. Or, oh man, that was one hell of a trip. I don't just want to describe Elden Ring as a game, because it's honestly much more than that. It's a long, challenging, epic, and amazing journey. And because of that journey, at least for me, Elden Ring and the DLC was and is a truly impactful and memorable experience. And this video isn't meant to be like a review of Elden Ring or the DLC. It's more about me sharing my own experiences and thoughts on the game. At the start of the game, you are a beginner, knowing basically nothing. And then suddenly this massive open world unfolds in front of you, and you are set out to explore it. Step by step, you find new places. Your character grows and you get new weapons, better gear, meet different people and do side quests, and you are growing to be the Elden Lord. Even though Elden Ring isn't really driven by a strong narrative, the story still somehow pulls you in, mostly through the incredible world building. Elden Ring tells its story mostly through its world. Like every element and object in the game has a reason to be there, like ruins, weapons, gear, signs, and so on. Every item has some story behind them. They all help tell the game's story. They give the game this really deep lore without force-feeding you the story. And that's mostly the way Elden Ring tells its story. Of course, in the game there are some cinematics scenes also, but those are kept very minimal. But even though Elden Ring has this deep and well-crafted story, or at least what I could remember and understand of it, for me, as I played Elden Ring, the story sort of faded into the background, if I'm being totally honest. My experience with Elden Ring was much more about everything else rather than the story. Even though the story is always running in the background, I know. But I often forgot about the story entirely and just focused on surviving in the world. Because that's what Elden Ring is really about. It was mostly about going from boss fight to boss fight, leveling up, finding new gear, pushing through hard challenges, just getting good with the game, and surviving in the big world, lands between. And those things are part of the journey. Okay, but yeah, speaking of the game's world, I have always felt like Elden Ring's world, it kinda stand on its own. You know, there is something really unique about it. It feels like it existed before you got there, and it will keep existing after you are gone. That's the feeling I get from Elden's world. And when the game starts, it just throws the player or you into that world, basically saying like, here is a weapon and good luck, survive, and it kicks you to the ass. And you, as a player, you just have to take the world as it is. There is no like difficulty setting or mode you can change. It is just what it is. And that's somehow a really cool feeling. And one more thing about Elden Ring's world. It's incredibly well made. And one of the most special things is that you can pretty much go anywhere you want to go. If you look off into the horizon and see a tower, a tree, building, island, or whatever, the chances are that you will probably be able to go there at some point in the game. And that is one of the Elden Ring's best features. It gives you this real sense of adventure because nothing restricts where you can go, most of the time. And of course, one of the first things you see on the horizon is the big Erdtree. For me, one of the most memorable moments was when I found myself standing at the base of that tree after like tens of hours of playing the game. And before we start talking about the DLC, if you want to support my channel, please check the links down below. And remember to like this video and comment down below how you felt when you played Elden Ring base game or the DLC. Also, remember to subscribe. Thanks a lot. So now let's move to talk about the DLC. The Shadow of the Erdtree. I started playing this expansion back in July and I just recently finished it. And now it's like October. But yeah, I spent like 40 between 60 hours in the game. And I must say, just like I described playing the base game, this DLC felt like a journey again. And oh boy, what a journey it has been playing the DLC. The DLC gave me the same feeling that I mentioned before, like the freedom to explore most of the places you can see. That is fully present in the Shadow of the Erdtree as well. You look around and spot castles, massive bridges, mountains in the distance, and in most cases you will actually end up making your way to those places. One thing that really stands out in this expansion is the verticality of the world. Like, you are not just wandering across the surface. You can go way down below into deep, dark places, like where no light even reaches, and you can also climb up to heights like towers, bridges, or the highest points of castles. The world feels layered in a way that makes exploring even more exciting. What's really great in the base game already and in the DLC is how the world is designed to make you want to explore. You will feel naturally drawn to turn every stone, peek around every corner, and you just want to see what's out there. And usually you will be rewarded for your curiosity, maybe with a chest, a new weapon, gear, or something else that will help you on your journey. Of course, there are so many other fantastic things about the game, but for me, this sense of freedom and the ability to explore at your own pace is something truly special. I felt like this when I played the base game, and now I felt it with the Shadow of the Erdtree. Let's take a moment to talk about the difficulty of the DLC and why I think it's actually important for the game to be challenging. I have noticed that Shadow of the Erdtree has gotten some attention for being a pretty tough expansion when it was launched back in June, or at least that's what I have seen online. Before I even started playing, I came across a bunch of articles and headlines complaining about that Shadow of the Erdtree was too hard or too difficult. The game's difficulty is obviously like subjective matter, since everyone plays the game in their own way and skill level, so I can't really judge that. But for me personally, the Shadow of the Erdtree hasn't been so much harder than the base game of Elden Ring. Elden Ring base game itself was full of challenges, like especially when you think about the tougher boss fights, and even some of the more basic enemies in the world. So the base game already had plenty of difficulty for me. I didn't play Shadow of the Erdtree like right when it was launched, so maybe the release version was a bit tougher than the current one after the updates. But anyways, in short, I think Shadow of the Erdtree has been nicely hard and challenging, but not overly difficult. Okay. For example, I play with my PS5 and I don't have the PlayStation Plus subscription, so I can't invite any like co-operators to help me with the tougher bosses. So I played the DLC without any help of other players, and I am not like the best player in the world. I'm just a regular player. But yeah, there have definitely been challenges throughout the DLC, and I have had to face boss fights in the Shadow world like 10 to 20 times before beating them. And some bosses I have beaten on the first try, okay? Just like in the base game of Elden Ring. And about the final boss, I'm not even overstating this. I tried to beat the final boss at least 100 times before I finally took him down. At least 100 times I went to fight that boss and didn't win. Oh my god, I felt I was kicked by the Erdtree like 100 times. But yeah, the point that I'm trying to make here is that since Elden Ring and the DLC are kind of tough games, that's exactly what makes playing them so rewarding. Like when you make progress in the game, beat a difficult boss or get through a challenging area, you feel like a winner. And that is what really makes Elden Ring such a journey. It's all about overcoming the struggles, and that's what makes the journey so rewarding. Because if the game wasn't any challenging, it wouldn't feel anything. The final boss in particular was super tough, but again, that's how it should be. It's the final boss, after all. And when in one of the recent patches of the game, the devs actually lowered the difficulty of the final boss. And I was like, no, I don't want this. Like, I wanted to beat the final boss as it was, or at least as tough as it was meant to be, you know? But yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. They have added a lot of new weapons and stuff to the expansion, but honestly, I have mostly played through the game with the same weapon I used in the original, the base game of Elden Ring, the Giza's Wheel. I have tried out some of the new weapons, but so far I haven't found one weapon that I have really wanted to stick with for the long term. Occasionally I switch to the Rivers of Blood or to the Sacred Relic Sword. But yeah, Shadow of the Erdtree has been a fantastic expansion. It's a massive game for being an expansion, with tons of things to do that will keep you busy for tens of hours. If I had just rushed the game, I might have finished the game within like 25-ish hours, but I have wanted to explore every single place, find as many secrets as possible, and defeat all of the bosses. At its core, this expansion feels like a miniaturized version of the base game, which is really cool. You will get a lot of the same experiences you got in the base game of Elden Ring. I would even say I like the world of Shadow of the Erdtree more than the original Elden Ring's world. I don't know even why, but maybe it's the verticality. And even though you don't start from scratch as a player, this expansion still manages to make you feel like you are on an epic adventure, just like in the original Elden Ring. For me, Shadow of the Erdtree has been an awesome journey. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you could make sense of my rambling thoughts here. And please drop a comment down below. Tell me what kind of experience you have had with the Shadow of the Erdtree. I would love to hear it. My name is Johei and see you in the next video. Skadam!